Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Will Smith, born Willard Carroll Smith II on the 25th of September 1968 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One of the most beloved actors of the past 3 decades, Will has not only influenced pop culture through his movies, but also his music and fashion sense. I first discovered Will Smith as a little kid watching Hancock, one of my favorite movies of all time. Super entertaining, and after that I kind of discovered the catalogue, so The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
How come you don't want me, man?
Which was very impactful, helped me navigate through my teenage years, let's just say, and also gave me the confidence to be who I truly was. After that, I discovered the classics, Men in Black, Bad Boys, Pursuit of Happiness, one of my favorites, and of course Ali, to name a few, of course. It's safe to say that Will Smith is not only one of my favorite actors, but also one of my biggest inspirations. Recently, we've seen some cracks in his picture perfect life. His not so perfect relationship with his wife Jada Smith has come under extreme scrutiny. He became a Twitter meme.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
So when I learned Will Smith was dropping a book, there was no way in hell I wasn't going to read it. In this video, I'll just be sharing some of the lessons that I've learned from my first read of Will, the memoir autobiography of Will Smith. I think it's written with the help of Mark Manson, also one of my favorite authors. I hope you guys enjoy it. The preface of the book is titled The Wall, in which Will Smith shares a profound story of him and his younger brother being tasked to build a wall in front of his father's shop when they were kids. Now, Will Smith has talked about this story a few times in some interviews, but reading about it really makes it sound more profound. For almost a year, no matter the weather, no matter if it was a vacation, holiday, him and his younger brother would go to his father's shop and work on the wall. As you can imagine, being young kids, they would often get into not in the best of moods, and on one occasion their father overhears them complaining, talking about how they don't want to build the wall anymore, and approaches them. He then grabs the brick out of Will Smith's hand and says, "Stop thinking about the damn wall. There is no wall, there are only bricks. Your job is to lay this brick perfectly, then move on to the next brick, then the next one. Don't worry about no wall, your only concern is one brick." This particular lesson from Will's dad is a metaphor for all of us pursuing something meaningful, creative in our life, whether that's becoming a doctor, whether that's becoming a athlete, whether it's, anything. If we focus on the end result too much, we kind of tend to lose momentum and focus. And these, end results can be in the form of money, fame, success, likes on social media, whatever. But if we focus on the end result, which tends to be the wall itself, we will eventually be drained. We'll begin to doubt ourselves on whether we can actually achieve goals we've set out for ourselves, and the final destination will appear almost impossible. However, by just focusing simply on laying a brick perfectly each day, we make things much easier for ourselves and don't get caught up in our long-term goal. If we just focus on what we do daily, posting, writing, going out, working out, if we focus simply on those small little actions every day, will eventually build our wall. The story ends with Will Smith and his brother leveling the last brick while their father is watching them do it with a cigarette in hand. He never takes his eye off the wall, and as soon as they're finished and they put the brick in place, he looks at them and says, "Now don't y'all ever tell me there's something you can't do," and walks off like a boss. In chapter 6 of the book, I believe, Gigi, who's Will's grandmother, who's a very religious Christian woman, lays some gems on Will before they go on their first ever tour. She says, "Be nice to everybody you pass on your way up, because you might just have to pass them again on your way down." This quote will mean a lot more as you begin to read the book and go into the next chapters. If you're familiar with Will Smith's origin story, what I'm going to say next won't come as a surprise, but Will Smith originally gained notoriety and fame as a part of a collective, a rap duo with his best friend DJ Jazzy Jeff, who you might have known from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I am having a very bad day.
DJ Jazzy Jeff originally burst out into the scene in the late 80s with songs such as Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, Summertime, the classics. Their debut album, Rock the House, would eventually go on to sell 500,000 copies. They were killing it, essentially. Now, you're probably wondering what could possibly go wrong, right? Like two friends having the absolute best time of their lives, pursuing their dreams, their creative passions. What could go wrong? Now, this is where that quote, which I read at the start, kind of applies. Will had achieved everything he set his mind to when he was young, became one of the biggest rappers with his best friend, was touring the country with some of the biggest names in hip-hop at the time, LL Cool J, Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy, to name a few. Their sophomore album, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, would go on to sell 3 million copies and earn them a Grammy, making them the first rap artist to earn the award. It's pretty big, man. Be nice to everybody you pass on your way up, because you might have to pass them again on your way down. GG New, man. GG New, honestly. Will and Jeff's third album, called And In This Corner, was a complete failure. These men went out to the Bahamas and were reckless, not disciplined at all in their craft, and were spending recklessly on women, food and booze, etc. And what you ultimately got was a shambles of an album. It was doomed from the start. The album's poor reception resulted in their performance fees being cut by 70%. Fans at their shows were less energetic. Business calls that would usually get returned in a few hours would sometimes take days to be responded to, or sometimes would not even be responded to at all. On top of all of this, Will Smith had not paid his taxes, owed the IRS $1 million. My man hadn't paid his taxes. Can you believe it? Just like that, Will Smith went from being one of the biggest stars of the late 80s in the music industry to being broke and losing his relevance in the music industry. How many times have we witnessed this story play out? The ambitious athlete or the musician, whatever it may be, letting success get to his or her head, just being complacent. We may not reach the same levels of success that Will and Jeff reached, but we can still learn from their unfortunate circumstances. We have to prepare ourselves for the inevitable decline after one reaches the top. How are we going to face that? Are we going to be wasteful of everything that we've achieved? Be nice to everybody you pass on your way up, because you might have to pass them again on your way down. I've always thought of myself as a coward. This is literally what Will Smith says in the first chapter, the first line of the book. This probably hit me the deepest out of everything. Now, there's a deeper reason to why Will thought of himself as a coward. It stemmed from the fact that he wasn't able to protect his mother from being hit by their drunken father as children. Will Smith goes on to say in the chapter that what you have come to understand as Will Smith, the alien annihilating MC, the bigger-than-life movie star, is largely a construction, a carefully crafted and honed character designed to protect myself, to hide myself from the world, to hide the coward. I found this to be incredibly fascinating and relatable. Fascinating because here's one of the biggest movie stars of the past 3 decades telling everybody that he's thought of himself as a coward, that this image he's created has been carefully crafted to hide this fact. And I found it relatable too, because I felt the same way. I felt sometimes that I've created an image on a facade and display the best version of me, or display a picture perfect version of myself to society, whether this be online or at work. How many times have we put on a facade to hide who we really are, online and in person, just for the approval of others, just so others could like us? This is probably one of my most toxic traits, but I know that I am not alone. We carefully craft this picture perfect versions of ourselves and showcase this to the world across social media. We only show our best moments, the pictures where we look the best, the freshest, but never our struggles, our downfalls. This is a toxic cycle which puts many of us in a depressive state. If our timelines are being constantly flooded with people that are healthy, happy, sexy, we're going to be depressed, because here we are, we don't have enough money to pay rent, we're out of shape, we're having problems in our personal life. As humans, we love to compare ourselves to people who are doing better. It's just how everything works. If Will Smith can publicly declare that he's thought of himself as a coward and has carefully crafted this image, why can't we embrace ourselves fully? Why can't we be authentic to ourselves? I know, as cliche and as repetitive as this sounds, no one on this earth is created perfect. So why are we trying to display ourselves as perfect? It's very toxic. We should be authentic in our actions, interactions, and relationships. We shouldn't let the approval of others dictate how we act and present ourselves to the world. Let's not be cowards. Let's be ourselves. I thoroughly enjoyed Will. It's one of the best books I read in recent years, and it's rare that a book can make you laugh, cry, and think at the same time. Will Smith, along with Mark Manson, who I believe co-wrote, wrote an incredibly tumultuous and exhilarating book. But yeah, as I stated at the start, these are just some of the lessons I took away from my first read of the book. Not all. I'm pretty sure that as I revisit this book throughout the years, I'll gain more gems. But for now, these are some of the things that kind of stood out to me from my first read. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And let's just say we're just getting started.